This is Jill Ciminillo's Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and I'm at the 2023 Midwest Automotive Media Association Spring Rally, and that means comparison videos. So in this video, I am going to do a comparison between the all-new Chevrolet Trax and the Honda HR-V, which is also all new. Both are subcompact crossover vehicles, and yeah, this is actually the first time I've seen the Trax. So why don't we take a look at it together? I don't know if you are familiar with the previous generation Trax, but if you are, this looks a lot different than that old model. This has been leaned up and sleeked out, and it looks really good. On this specific trim, which is the active trim, you've got a lot of blacked out badging and wheels. So you've got your blacked out wheels here, and you have your blacked out bow tie badge in the front and more of a blacked out grille. I just think everything about this vehicle looks really good. It has more of a blazer look to it, and just again sleeked out and much more upscale than the previous version. Coming around to the back, you can see these nice taillights again with the blacked out badging, and you have roof rails and just very attractive styling here. Come to the side. Yeah, I'm gonna pause here for a minute. This is a Chevrolet Trax. Yeah, that's a Chevrolet Trax. All right, let's go inside and see what's going on. All right, coming to the inside, this is also getting a huge improvement with some really nice details. This model has the yellow piping, the active badging on the headrest, and some perforated leatherette seating surfaces. You have some yellow accents on the air vents and on the dash. And when you come in, look at this. You have two really large digital screens. And sitting behind the wheel, this is my perspective, very good visibility for the behind the wheel gauge cluster, as well as, you know, then this huge infotainment screen right here. One of the things that I think General Motors does really well is they include their menu items right here. So from music to your phone to the your traction control to, I don't know why that's there, maybe that's configurable, but they've got the good little icons out here at the side that allow you to make some adjustments without digging too far into the menus, and I really like that. You also have your HVAC controls, which are hard controls right here, and you've got heated seats. You do have some glossy black lacquer, some trim pieces on the door, on the dash, but I think it looks good. And you know what? I'm gonna continue talking, but I want you to think about this for a second. How much do you think this specific vehicle costs? So get a number in your mind, and when I'm done showing you the interior, I'll tell you the price of this vehicle. So you've got the black badging here on the steering wheel again. You've got some nice leather on the steering wheel. You have a more traditional shifter, so where you just kind of pull it through the gears with your foot on the brake. And yeah, you've got, again, just some really nice seating surfaces. I will say in the back seat, you do have the stitching, but you don't have the piping, and you don't have a panoramic moonroof. You just have this moonroof right here. But in general, I think this is a pretty classy look for this vehicle. And if you remember the previous generation, this is leaps and bounds better than what it was. Let's take a quick look in the back seat and see what's going on back there. So again, subcompact class, you're not going to have a lot of legroom, but this is more legroom than I expected to see. I'll be honest with you. More legroom than I expected to see. So scooting over here, more legroom than I expected to see. And you have kind of a padded surface right here, so if somebody taller were in here, it wouldn't hurt their knees. You do not have air vents. You do have USB-C and a USB-A charge port and a place to set a phone or something, but you do not have air vents. All right, so have you got that number in your head? Do you know what you think this costs? I bet you're wrong. Without Googling, Got the number. All right, so this vehicle right here is at about $26,000. All of these items included. I think that is amazing for this vehicle. So let's see how the HRV compares. All right, I now have the Honda HRV behind me, and this is also all new for this model year. So we're going to take a look around and compare it to the Trax. And like the Trax, I'm not going to tell you what this costs until the end. So get a number in your head and let me know what you think this is priced at and if it's worth it. So this is the EXL version of the Honda HRV, which puts it pretty high in the trim spectrum. So this is going to have a lot of extra features and things that you wouldn't see on a lower trimmed vehicle. I like the design, although I will say this has a little bit more of a cute face to it. So instead of being more elegant, it just looks cute. I do like the honeycomb pattern. I think that they've done a good job of carrying this through the design on the interior, as we will see. And, it looks better than the previous generation, but it just still looks a little bit cute for me. So where the Trax was more on the sleek side of things, this has a little bit more of a bubbly look. And just, I don't know, to me this blends in with the crowd a little bit more than the Trax did. So coming around to the back, you've got some nice LED taillights. I like the little chicane look you've got going on here. So it adds a little bit of sport to it. And I like the trim pieces. So we've pointed out on other vehicles that sometimes you've got the cladding on the back and it looks a little bit plasticky, but this is a bit shinier. It blends with the actual body color. And I think that the trim pieces on the bottom here look really nice. And again, you see it on the cladding around the wheels and, on the underbody. So in general, I think this is an attractive vehicle. So I'll leave it to you to decide whether you like the exterior of the Trax or the HRV better. Let's check out the inside. Moving to the inside, you can see that while you have some stitching on the armrest here, the door pieces and panels look a little bit more simple and plain. You do have this nice seating surface here with some attractive stitching and some perforation here on the inserts for the seats, but just a little bit more simple and a little bit more on the plain side. And yep, here is that honeycomb pattern, so the recurring theme from the grille comes to the inside. Once you shut the door, you can see you have more analog gauge cluster style here. So this is actually fully analog. This is not digital at all. It's an actual static feature on the HRV, but you have like about a 2/4, 3/4 bit right here where that is digital and a little bit configurable, but not very much. Then you have this infotainment screen, which is fairly large. It's a nice size and pops out over the dash. I will say the graphics on the Honda look a little bit more dated, but both have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you don't like how this looks, you can easily just plug in your phone and you can go with the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto main menu. You do have wireless charging. That means this probably also has the wireless Apple CarPlay, which that usually gets a thumbs up from me. But a little bit more, well, actually, this is a soft surface here. So you've got a nice soft padded surface on the dash. That's nice. And I like the horizontal design here. Again, your door panels are a little bit more plain. You've got some decent seating surfaces, and then your back seats carry through the pattern from the front seat, which is always a plus. And as we pointed out with the Trax, you don't have a panoramic roof, but you do have a little moonroof over the driver's seats. Let's step into the back seat really quick. And we'll check that out. So again, for a compact SUV, I think this is a decent amount of leg space that you get back here. And you do also have a padded surface in the back of the seat. Okay, so let's be clear here. This is behind my driver's position. This is going to be what it's going to look like for a more normal situation. And again, I feel like it's still a pretty decent legroom for a smaller SUV. You don't have any air vents back here, and yeah, no USB-C ports back here either. plain door panels and plastic here, though you have a little bit of a padding here where you're going to put your elbow. All right, so you remember when I asked you how much you thought this cost? Do you have it in your head? Do you think this costs more or less than the Chevrolet Trax? Do you got it? This costs more than the Chevrolet Trax. This specific model as an EXL comes in at just more than $30,000. Yeah, how's that? Okay, so here you have two vehicles, both of which are completely redesigned for this model year. One makes a huge leap in improvement, and the other just, I'd say, incrementally gets better. And I would say neither one are bad vehicles, but in my book, there's definitely a clear winner here, and that's going to be the Blazer. In addition to an attractive, sleek styling that looks really upscale, the seats. Let's talk about the seats for a second. I usually hate General Motors seats, and the seats in the Trax are a lot comfortable. I'm going to say oodles and oodles more comfortable than the seats in the Honda HR-V. Now, both Tim and I have done videos on the HR-V previously, and I think he'll link to those up here. And neither of us have liked the seats in the HR-V, but the seats in the Trax have the right amount of padding in the right place, whereas this has a weird, I don't know, right at my tailbone, it like bumps up. I don't know, not comfortable. Trax, comfortable. So in general, you're looking at $26,000 for that version of the Trax that we looked at, and I think that is better trimmed, more elegantly styled, and more comfortable than the HR-V. One more thing I'm going to say is I thought that the Trax was a little bit quieter in terms of engine noise and things creeping into the cabin. The HR-V is just louder. So I don't know what Chevrolet did with the Trax. I don't know how they managed to put that package into a $26,000 vehicle, but whatever they did, they get 2 thumbs up. And I think that of this comparo, Trax definitely wins. All right, that is all I have on these two vehicles, the Trax versus the HR-V. Be sure to visit us on the web at pickuptrucktalk.com for more information on everything. And I will see you down the road.